Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Massaro, and welcome to Digital Shift, your home for all things motorsports. This week, the hub of the racing universe is Daytona Beach, Florida. NASCAR is set to throw the green flag on the 53rd running of the Daytona 500. Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the pole, and starting second is Jeff Gordon. Still, the talk heading into the season opener is about their Hendrick teammate. Jimmie Johnson, remarkably, has won 5 consecutive titles. Can he do it again? Let's check in with Andy Petrie, Marty Smith, Ricky Craven, and Dr. Jerry Punch to hear what they think.
2010 showed us that the 48 is beatable. It showed us that they are subject to someone coming in and dethroning them.
I think that these are all formidable foes. You know, with RCR, Gibbs especially, I really think that Denny Hamlin and Mike Ford are going to be super focused when it comes chase time. I think that they, losing that championship was something that they're going to really use to motivate their team to win it this year. With all that being said, though, I just don't think anybody can beat Jimmie Johnson and Chad Canals. I just don't see them letting up. I think Jimmie Johnson's going to win.
Exactly why fans can't stand the guy. He's too perfect.
And Andy, you recognize that when you worked with Dale Sr., there was something about him, he had a presence, and that presence elevated everybody's game around him, right? He brought everybody to a new level. That's what I'm hearing inside the 48 camp, is that Jimmie brings everybody to a new level. He doesn't have good days, bad days. He just has consistent days. He's the same guy every day. And I think that he is a key component to the team being so united. And again, that relationship with the crew chief, that's priceless. You can't create that. That's something that's magic.
I'm not sure if Yogi Berra ever met Jimmie Johnson, but that phrase, it's deja vu all over again, might apply to Jimmie Johnson in 2011. A lot of people believe he will win his 6th in a row.
Of course, with 5 titles, there's a natural temptation to wonder if Johnson can get not only a 6th, but perhaps a 7th. That's a hallowed number in NASCAR, a mark reached only by Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. Asked about reaching that number, Johnson didn't deny wanting it, but said if he doesn't reach it, he certainly wouldn't be disappointed with the way things have turned out so far. One driver whose goals are at the opposite end of the spectrum is Danica Patrick. A year ago, her best NASCAR finish was 19th. The good news is it came in her final nationwide race of the season. How's that affected expectations? Let's check back with our roundtable.
What about expectations for 2011?
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that she can have success in NASCAR. The problem is, and the deficit that she faces, is that she's not going about it the same way that her competitors are. They're full-time. Having said all that, when she chooses to make NASCAR full-time, I think the expectations should be sky high. The schedule appears to be the same as it was in 2010. I think she's still going to face a headwind.
This is a very difficult thing to do. But she dug her heels in. I felt like she had flashes of brilliance. We saw a couple of times where she was very competitive. And so I think she's going to build on that. Hopefully this year she'll do well.
Marty, step back if you would, and let's just look at the big picture. What is the impact of Danica Patrick on the sport of NASCAR racing?
It certainly brought eyes, and it was a huge story when she came in 2010. But moving forward, now that she's here and we know that she wants to be here, it's all about going fast and continuing to improve, because if you don't run well, you're not relevant. I don't care who you are. You have to be competitive in order to be relevant. So I think that if she was competitive, if she was able to be a top 10 or 15 driver, huge. I mean, it would have a massive impact on this sport. It would draw new eyes, sponsorship opportunities, on and on and on.
Danica says as 2010 wore on, her goals changed. She says by the end of the year, survival wasn't the goal. She was finally comfortable enough to get aggressive in the car. And from that, Danica says, quote, anyone who has followed my career knows the more aggressive I can be, the better I am. There were few drivers in NASCAR history who were better than Dale Earnhardt. This year marks the solemn 10-year anniversary of his tragic death. Earnhardt was a driver whose relentless attitude and aggressive approach yielded Hall of Fame success. But it wasn't just his 76 wins and 7 championships that made him the man. It was also his keen ability to understand the sport and its direction heading into the future. Because of this, in many ways, his influence shaped the sport's landscape. On the day Earnhardt died, the sport lost part of its identity that has not and will not ever be replaced. To honor Earnhardt, there will be a moment of silence, appropriately on lap 3 of the Daytona 500. Looking ahead on the motorsports calendar, next weekend, NASCAR heads to Phoenix, highlighted by the Subway Fresh Fit 500. NHRA also gets underway with the Craig and O'Reilly Auto Parts NHRA Winter Nationals, while F1 begins with the Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix March 13th, and IndyCar kicks into gear March 27th with the Honda Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. That's all for this edition of Digital Shift. See you next time right here on ESPN.com.